Welcome to my presentation held at the AMI Wood Plastic Composite Conference in September 2018 in Vienna. My name is Dr. Daniel Friedrich and I would like to report from Compolytics research, which is research in composite, polymer and policy analytics. And with today's presentation I want to raise the question: should the EN 15534 Part 5 for cladding become a construction product norm, which is the base norm for wood plastic composite products in the building scope, and particularly the Part 5 handling cladding products from WPC. I would like to start my presentation by providing insights about the Construction Products Directive of CPR, the Construction Products Regulation. Then showing consequences for wood plastic composite cladding if these products are regulated by a CPR. Then I would like to show what will happen if these products, according to their base norm, are handled by the CPR, and what would like to show consequences from a study conducted by research in economics, and then closing my presentation with a summary of the bullet points. So let's start by asking, what is a CPR? A CPR is Construction Products Regulation, and this is a EU regulation number 305 released in 2011, laying down harmonized conditions for the marketing of construction products. So it is about how to regulate construction products which are released into the market by the manufacturers or by their suppliers. And this CPR is about the declaration of performance, the DOP, and the CE marking of such building products. Meaning that by doing so, these products must contain information about their essential product characteristics for their use in the building scope. And it contains information for the manufacturers how to market and publish product-related data in order to harmonize the building market, meaning that all the architects and building planners can properly decide about the usefulness of such building products for their respective building projects by easily comparing the properties of such product according to the published data. So once again, if we were a WPC cladding manufacturer, according to our Type 5 base norm for WPC cladding, which was released under the scope of a CPR because per definition our product is a building product, we are obliged to do the initial type testing and report the results according to this table given in the annex of this norm. We must make a CE marking on the product, as it looks like this, and the fire resistance must be declared by a notified external body, so we cannot do the fire resistance on our own. But to be honest, what is not handled by all these norms and declaration is information about the wind load resistance of such an erected facade, where our WPC cladding panel is part of. Because you remember one of the first slides said that the EN norm for WPC does only cover the profile itself, but not the fixing mechanisms and the subrails and so on. So the complete facade system is outside the scope of the 15534. Meaning we need further information about what tests should be done to also report such information to the facade planners, because they must also give a proof calculation to demonstrate that the chosen product within the facade of their target project is really fit for use, So comparing the wind load resistance by this product and facade kit with the expected wind loads at their building project. So there should also be some testing, laboratory testing, where such wind load resistances given in kilonewtons per square meter facade section are to be tested. So we've seen there do exist a good variety of norms to regulate this novel product WPC cladding. Should be not a problem for manufacturers to do all their homework, but on the other side it binds them for the coming years, and they have no flexibility anymore to change something on their material compound formulation, on their product system, and so on. So on the one hand, there is everything available to regulate their product and to successfully bring it to the market. On the other side, they renounce on further flexibility, and maybe it is better to wait to cover the existing WPC Type 5 product norm under the scope of a CPR. Maybe it's too early, and this is something we try to clarify in the scope of Compolytics research, and we asked ourselves if such a early standardization restricts the manufacturers too much. So we started by creating a list about the pros and cons. What are the advantages for such an early handling of the WPC cladding norm by the CPR, restricting very much? Maybe there are cost savings and higher compatibility of materials and components to norms. This is more trustworthy for the designers in the market. We need smaller amount of knowledge rebuilding. So once having developed it, it is kept as it is, and then it's only about producing and no further optimization and so on. On the other hand, there are disadvantages. Newcomers are attracted to this novel market, and a higher competition emerges in the market, maybe too early, and there is a downtrend for further innovation, so there is no incentive anymore to make further innovations and further developments. Maybe the profits, they decline too early due to this tough competition, and maybe the innovation image gets lost too early when a high amount of mass-produced products are then released to the market also by others. So there are good arguments and arguments against such an early standardization phase. So we did some studies in the scope of economics and model theory in economics. So what happens is that under an early standardization by CPR related product norm, the demand for WPC cladding will increase from a monopoly market to a standardized and polypoly market. So high demand because these products are produced in higher volumes and are offered to decrease, so lower prices in the market. As you can see here, the price decreases from a monopoly price to a standardized price or polypoly price. In terms of society, the social welfare is expected to increase because every market which is turning away from a monopoly to a polypoly market will gain the highest social welfare ever, because prices are lowest in the market and the volumes are highest of these products. So this is a good sign which speaks for an early release of WPC product norm under a CPR scope. What will happen with the profits? So let's take now the position of the manufacturers, because they are interested in keeping high profits. And this is also a result here from this economic model theoretical analysis showing what will happen if we as an incumbent firm, which we were inventing this new WPC product and now had to standardize it, which is indicated by the blue line. And now the newcomers will enter our market and offering a similar product, also standardized because the norms are available to everybody, but under lower quality and therefore lower prices. So if we distinguish ourselves very much from these newcomers and competitors by higher differentiation degree, our profits will increase much more than having a smaller distance to our competitors by having or showing quite similar qualities. And this is the main difference. So we must have an interest under such an early standardization phase to furtherly distinguish and differentiate our products from other manufacturers and suppliers. So we must continue improving and further innovating. Otherwise, our profits will go down too early, and this is a loss in profits. So also for such an early standardization phase, this will push very much the incumbent firms to furtherly keep up their innovation developments. There are already good strategies how to do this. Maybe by mass customization, which is applied very effectively by the automotive industry, creating very standardized production systems by maybe such standardization and norms, but then very much varying the product outcomes to better distinguish them from others, and this is also profit increasing. The results which are shown here, they are already reported by a scientific paper in the Journal of Cleaner Production, and here's the reference from Compolytics research. So the basic lessons we have been learning from this broad study is that since WPC still keeps its primary fire class D and E, so it's not that good fire class, there's an additional effort from the CPR arising, which means the manufacturers must make a CE marking and a declaration of product performance, which demands a broad range of testing from them. Also a fire testing given to external bodies and to increase the trustworthiness. The CPR demands a consistency of the WPC product specifications with this industry type testing, which somehow makes further developments less flexible. Such an early standardization makes WPC cladding products more similar, is increasing the transparency in the market, and this is what is demanded by the EU Commission when releasing products under the scope of a CPR. The market become more polypoly-like, and this is maximizing the social welfare, which was a result from the economic analysis. Corporate profit potentially increases when using kind of mass customization strategy, so increasing the distance to the newcomers by furtherly innovating even under such an early standardization where everything is already regulated by the norms. And this is a solution and a recommendation from Compolytics research to pursue a mass customization strategy for such new WPC cladding building products. This is an overview about the norms and the references used here in this presentation. And with this last slide, I would like to come to the end of my presentation and thanking you for your attention and referring to the Compolytics website, where you'll find further information about research around bioplastics products. Thank you very much.